Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video we will have a look at the Blackhawk CQD Mark 1 Type E. What a name. This one came in blister packaging. Some more information down there. Then on the back side we have even more information, the overall length. Always 8 blade steel, glass breaker. We have a secondary blade, a safety lock. We have a plunger lock. The handle material is mentioned that we have also 420 stainless steel liners in it, and of course on the end is the seat belt, cord cutter and the lanyard hole. Now I'm not sure if that knife is still made. We have the blackhawk.com website. Had another look at that. So a bit about the backstory of that knife. Back long time ago, I would say around the year 2003, I would say, the original version of that knife was on the market by Master of Defense, a knife company that, as best as I see, doesn't exist for quite a long time. So it was CNC aluminium handle and fancy steel blade, and it was really expensive. But back in the day, that was regarded as the best tactical folding knife for professional use. But because of the high price, many people could not afford it. And that knife I saw many times at the blade show. Back then I traveled all the way from Switzerland, where I was stuck, to USA to exhibit at the blade show. And I saw what was new and what was in fashion or at the height of the time back then. And that design was it. That really was it. Unfortunately too expensive, could not afford that. But then later on Blackhawk did take over the design and made more economical versions with the injection molded handle like we have it here. Also in a smaller size as well. This is the full size, the big size version. And the smaller version I did already test out. As best as I remember, I did a video of that model too. Unfortunately that is no longer in my collection. So as I saw this knife for sale for $40, I did buy that, so we can finally after all the years get the design and test that out, how well it works. Now to this version, it's a folding knife. We have a typical plunger lock. Now this one is not automatic. Back then in the original version in aluminium, they later on made a switchblade version as well. So we see the button is in a silver color. We have 2 thumb studs on the blade, so it's easy to open with one hand from either side. The negative is that the thumb stud is a bit on the small side. If you have gloves, you're gonna have a bit of problem to get over that gap there. It's not too far away there, but you can also flip it open if that is desired. And then of course you just open it all the way. We have the stainless steel liners that lock there like that. I mean, give it a nice stop. The locking part is built in there. So we have the button that comes out. Then we have the secondary lock. That's the middle part here. We have the left and the right side of the grip. Like this it would be locked. Like this is unlocked. So once the thing is locked, it basically is like a safety of a switchblade, so you can't push the button in it anymore. then you push it, slide it back, and then you can depress and unlock. As we are already on that side, we see here is the glass breaker, window breaker. Then they made this shield parts on both sides, so as you hammer on a windshield or something, that you have a bit more protection. It depends on how you hold it. You can also hold it like that and give it a punch, so that you have a bit more of a shield effect. That was back then something new too, because usually the glass breakers were at the end of the knife. Then we have a typical pocket clip. Back then that wasn't too much about deep carry versions, plus it's reversible, at least it's a black color, and we have quite a bit a distance where the knife sticks out of the pocket. Many operators did wear gloves back then, so that you could easily get it out. Also the guard part comes in handy, that you have something to pull on it. Then we have basically the handle with texturing on it. Texturing is pretty good. Then we have 4, I would say, decorative slots. Unfortunately, usually such slots get filled easy with pocket lint and all that, so that is how that is. Then as we come toward that side here, we have the cord cutter, belt seat cutter. Unfortunately it's a bit limited. I would say a paracord still goes in it, but that's about as big as you can go into that slot to the cutting blades there. It's a simple design, as they inlaid two blades and then assembled it with screws there. There we see a bit better how that part look. Then we have a lanyard hole. Unfortunately it's not dehorned, so it has a sharp edge on the lanyard hole there. That needs to be a bit dehorned as well. And we have some serrations, mainly on the bottom of the knife. On top we only have the serrations there where the secondary lock, the safety is, a bit on the blade as well. Now the blade is a bit like a dagger type from the grind. We see we have quite a pointy blade, slightly hollow grind with a typical serrated edge. I like that a lot. AOS 8 quality and a black finish. A bit big laser engraving on it, not too sterile. Could be a bit smaller, but that is how that is. On the other side we have Taiwan. They did sharpen the blade really nice too. It's a good quality. Top is unsharpened. The size of the main axis is quite likely a bit on the small size. That back then that wasn't that much of a hype to have a really fat, thick axis there in that regard. So yeah, that pretty much is it. The item is rather big, rather large. I have bigger hands. Again, that is the big version. They also made a smaller version of it. Now, is that still worth it in 2022? I would say if you get it for a good price, yes. If you have the need for such a knife that has quite some combination of features built into it, yes, it's still good. The item is also lighter than the aluminium version. It's of course less high priced. As best as I know, they did not make a switchblade version out of this more lighter version. That would have been interesting as well, but is even in USA restricted in some states. So all in all, it's quite a big knife. You need to really think if you wanna if you have space on your kit, on your gear for such a knife. I would say from the design, from the materials and all that, that is still up to date our days, pretty much. There is so far nothing in that combination that did come new on the market that would be better or more advanced or something. They really figured it out back then. Basically, as that did start with Masters of Defense, that was a company that did hire professionals back then and let them design knives how they would like to use them in their work and as professionals, and that's what they did. They had quite many different variations, and one of it was this knife, and this knife quite likely was the one that did stand out the most of all the knives. So if you are interested in that design, that is still valid, and if the price is good, I would not hesitate and get me a second one. So that much about the Blackhawk CQD Mark 1 Type E. What a name.